All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Yashem, Yahweh Shai by Yashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well, and peace and salutation unto the hopeful elect, the 1/3 of Yasha Allah, upholding the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of their ability. Peace and salutation. This is the Brother Bakwasha. And I just want to cover, I guess, an article or some information that's recently, I guess, resurfaced because in 2018, Kentucky filed a bill which stated that in a divorce, the woman no longer has 100% custody of the child, and now it's 50-50. And through the Spirit, I'm just going to cover some precepts because everything here in Esau's system is completely out of whack and against the Holy Scriptures. And society at large may be viewing this as a quote unquote win for the men, but ultimately Yahweh Shai Shai doesn't like divorce. Okay. And here in this society, they commercialize it. And here in this society, the quote unquote government steps in as the middleman or ultimately the judge between the two when Yahweh Shai is the judge, man. You know, and so let me read this quick clip about it. It says, in Kentucky, 50-50 custody is presumed to be in the child's best interest and is the standard in most cases following the 2018 law. While judges generally strive for equal parenting time, they can override this presumption if there's evidence of domestic violence, other safety concerns, or if it's not in the child's best interest. Well, first of all, they shouldn't be judging anyway. The judges of the earth are Israelites, specifically the saints, okay? The elect of Yahweh Shai. So let's bring out a couple quick scriptures. This won't be too long. Just want to cover it because it's kind of shocking because even this YouTuber is going over it in September 26, but all of the action for this law was done in 2018. And so it's basically just showing how these divorces they've decreased because now women are realizing they can't receive funding anymore from the government based on them just divorcing a man for anything that comes to their mind versus now having to be in that relationship and remain in that relationship. Okay. So this is Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 7. Surely oppression maketh the wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. So yeah, the oppression is being in this system because this system is completely filled off of rebellion against the Holy Scriptures. This is Nahum chapter 3, verse 1. Woe to the bloody city. It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departed not. And who's being preyed upon is the Israelite man. Okay. Because the N-Dub, okay, is in bed with Esau, the so-called white man, because they've been the benefactors. Okay. And we're going to touch on that, Lord will, in Isaiah the 32nd chapter. Okay. This is Psalms 82, verse 5. It says, they know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. And that's Esau, the so-called white man's system. Scripture says the earth has been given into the hand of the wicked. Okay, he covered the faces of the judges thereof. The judges are the Israelites, man. So this whole legal system is a farce. Okay, it's not set up to be anything righteous. It's completely set up to be commercialized. Okay, so we're gonna play a couple of quick clips through the Spirit, and Lord will this be edifying for the elect.
Divorces in Kentucky just collapsed by 25%. Not because couples suddenly found love again, but because the cash out game is over. For decades, divorce was treated like a jackpot. Mom walks away with the kids. Mom walks away with the check. And dad? He's reduced to a weekend visitor and a paycheck.
One state just nuked its divorce rates by doing one rare thing that the rest of America would never dare.
And there is a real danger that the divorce rate is going down
Because it's harder for women to leave.
If I have my child half the time, why am I paying full support? Like I'm not even around. I'm feeding them, clothing them, taking them to school, wiping their tears, just like she is. But somehow only I have to pay up. This is
all the foundations are out of course. He's going to say it in layman's terms.
Wiping their tears, just like she is. But somehow only I have to pay up. This system don't reward fatherhood. It punishes.
Right. It punishes it. Okay. The system doesn't reward anything except for Esau. All right. Let's read it again. This is Psalm 82, verse 5. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. Why? Because there's no truth and no righteousness in the earth. This is Hosea chapter 4, verse 1. It says, hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel, for the Lord hath a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth, no mercy, no knowledge of Yahweh in the land. Those are the foundations of righteousness, man. So when you're in a world that's driven on commercialism and lies and robbery, and you're the prey, then obviously the Israelite man has been made to a piece of bread, man. You know, or even as it's spoken of in the Matrix, you know, you get dwindled down to a battery, man, and your only usage is to serve, to be in servitude, and now all of your money, for the most part, you know, goes to this winch. Okay. And then, you know, Esau collects his tax as a pimp. Okay. That's what the system is built off of. All right. Whereas let's go to the law. This is Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 1. It says, when a man hath taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, okay, in his eyes, because he's the judge, okay, because he hath found some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement. It didn't say anything about a legal system. It didn't say 50-50 custody. It didn't say any of these things, man. Okay? It says, because he hath found some uncleanness in her eye, Salakia, because he hath found some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand and send her out of his house. There's no 50-50. Okay? It's his house. It's his way or the highway. It's really Yahweh Shemi Abishai's way or the highway. Okay? Let's read on. It says, and when she is departed out of his house, she may go to be another man's wife. And if the latter husband hate her and write her, notice all of the authority is in the man's hands. It's not in the state. It's not in the legal system, quote unquote. And if the latter husband hate her and write her a bill of divorcement and giveth it in her hand and sendeth her out of his house, or if the latter husband die, which took her to be his wife, her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife. After that, she is defiled. For that is abomination before the Lord, and thou shalt not cause the land to sin, which the Lord, thy power Yahweh, giveth thee for an inheritance. Okay, so that's the point. Okay, the man is going to write the bill of divorcement. It's not going to be the woman. And then even when you go into the book of Exodus, okay, it says, Exodus 21 and 10, it says, if he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. So once again, the responsibility is always going to be on the man to take care of the wife. Okay, we're not disputing that, but this is what we're disputing as far as a divorcement is concerned. It says, and if he do not these three unto her, then shall she go out free without money. Okay, so there's not going to be this 50-50 custody, no child support, no none of those things, man. Okay. This whole system is out of course, man. All right. Let's bring this out. This is Sirach 25 and 26. Matter of fact, let's see. Yeah, let's start up at 23. This is Sirach chapter 25, verse 23. A wicked woman abated the courage. Okay, and I want to say this word abated goes into decrease con. Abated, third person singular present tense form of the verb to abate, meaning to decrease in force, intensity, or amount, to lessen or to nullify or put an end to something such as right, nuisance, or tax. So it says a wicked woman decreases the courage, maketh an heavy countenance and a wounded heart. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees. Okay, because breaking your back, man. You know, you're being diminished. You don't have any heart, any fervor. You know, the glory of a man is his woman, man. You know, but here in this society, these women are succubuses, man. Okay, they drain you of your energy, they drain you of your resources. Okay, and then they move on to the next carousel. Okay, it says of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. Give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad. If she go not as thou wouldest have her, cut her off from thy flesh and give her a bill of divorcement and let her go. Doesn't say anything that she keeps the children and it's 50-50 custody and she sees him on the weekend and you get every other weekend and then, you know, on birthdays and holidays and all of that's just lies, man. It's another reason why the system is going to be destroyed by Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Okay? This is Isaiah chapter 30. Salaki. This is Isaiah chapter 3 and this is Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12. It says, as for my people, children are their oppressors and women rule over them. You know, because Esau, the so-called white man, is our oppressor. And the N-Dub, for the most part, rule over our people. Because those are our two enemies, you know, along with the spiritual demon Satan, right? Those are our enemies here in this society. In this land, it says, O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err and destroy the way of thy paths. Okay, because it wasn't like that from the beginning. Okay, let's read that in Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah chapter 31 and verse 22. It says, how long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? Talking about the children of Israel. It says, for the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth, a woman shall compass a man. Okay, so that was a new thing because the woman is, matter of fact, the scripture says that the woman is of the man. Okay. This is 1 Corinthians 11 and let's start at verse 7. It says, for a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and the glory of God, or Yahweh. But the woman is the glory of the man. For the man is not of the woman. For the man is not of the woman. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Okay? So all jurisdiction, all decisions, all power lies in the man. She's just a possession. You don't give a possession authority. That's why it's called landlord. Okay. The Lord of the land is the man. Okay. That's why Sarah called Abraham Lord. Okay. because he's the Lord of her being the land. Okay. It says, neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. For this cause ought the woman to have power on her head because of the angels. Nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither the woman without the man in the Lord. For as much is of the man, even so is the man also by the woman, but all things of Yahweh. So point being here is this whole scenario, although to the worldly eyes may seem like, oh man, we're finally getting 50-50 custody, but it's still against the scriptures, man. Okay. Like, this is not a victory. Okay. They've decreased the divorce in that state by 50%, but they still putting Israelites in jail. All of these laws are against the holy scriptures. We're still in the land of our captivity. Okay. And Esau, the so-called white man, is still the damn devil. Okay. So let's play a little bit more and then we'll move on to one more, because I was kind of shocked a little bit because this article or this story came out in 2018. But for some reason, it's just now getting some speed in 2025. Now, that may be because of the statistics. I'm not really sure. But like I said, this popped up on my feed. And so when I looked into it, it said 2018. And I was like, so then why in the hell is it popping up now? But that's what Esau will do. He'll take some things that have been buried years and years ago, and then he'll post them as something new just to sway the minds of the people. But yeah, this is where this article is, or this video is, going into it in 2018. But I didn't hear anything about it then. But now I guess it's coming back because, hey, Yahweh Shem Shah, man, is bringing this place to its knees, man. Okay, and as the scriptures say, rise up, you women that are at ease. Let's grab that. This is Isaiah chapter 32, verse 9. Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women. For the vintage shall fail and the gathering shall not come. Okay. So yeah, all of those resources and benefits that you used to have from Esau, the so-called white man, your daddy, right? All of those things are now being diminished, man. You know, all that carelessness, all that wantonness, okay, gadding abroad, you know, what is it called? Hot girl summer, twerking everywhere. It's going to be hard to twerk when you ain't got no food in your stomach, okay? Because they got rid of the welfare system. In Florida, I believe they got rid of alimony, right? And then now in Kentucky, obviously, they're making any divorcement 50-50. So you're not finna leave with the bag. Because that's why majority of the women were getting married, because they knew at any given time they can pull the strings on the relationship, and then now get more than 50% of the man's resources for the rest of his life. And guys just stop getting married, stop doing the things that's where that whole quote unquote red pill movement began. People started to realize that the whole system was against men. Okay. So yeah, let's play this last part real quick and then we'll hit that Isaiah and we'll wrap up.
Kentucky flipped the script. They became the first state in America to pass a law making 50-50 custody the default. And the moment that happened, something incredible and honestly terrifying for some people was exposed. When women realized they could no longer cash out to the courts, divorce filing dropped overnight. A full quarter fewer divorces in one state compared to just 18% nationwide. Men call it fairness. Women's group, they call it dangerous. And that clash right there between fairness and fear is why this story is exploding.
There are reports coming out of Kentucky that the divorce rate has completely plummeted. 25%. It's gone down 25%. Like, that's significant. You know, when the divorce rate nationally rests, I don't know, I think a little bit above 50%. To have it drop 25% in one state means to pay attention. It's a reason to pay attention.
If you live in Texas and have...
Here's the kicker. The money numbers prove it. Before this law, a dad making $4,000 a month would be forced to hand over nearly $10,000 a year in child support.
So I think you get it through the Spirit. I mean, obviously there's other scenarios she's going to go into. You brothers can go back and check out the whole thing. Let's play this real quick.
Ambiguous incidents don't automatically strip a father away from his children.
So most of y'all know by now that I had a restraining order put on me after 4 years. It's 4 years after the first custody battle. The whole reason why I got a restraining order thrown on me was because I did videos like this. I spoke up explaining why men are giving up on their children, why, just pretty much why, because no one cares why. But if I keep speaking, enough people will start listening to where I can try and get through to some people's heads.
And here's what's wild. The same people who call this law dangerous are the ones who spent years shouting about equality. But the second equality means women don't get a financial advantage. Suddenly, it's oppression. I'll show you what real equality looks like in a minute and why kids actually do better under...
Right, and there's no such thing as equality. That's another spell, another a word that Esau uses to sway the minds of the people, you know? So let's play this last one real quick, and then we'll wrap up through the Spirit.
Money in it. I don't care what you say. You can spend it any way you want. Results are the results, and the proof is in the pudding. And y'all just need to sit down, take several seats, and understand the jig is almost up. Tick tock, tick tock. You dig?
Now I know what some of these crazy toxic women around here are going to say. Well, that's because women are locked in their marriages. No, that's because instead of walking away and thinking that they can weaponize the family courts to take the kids and get a ton of money, women realize that that's no longer possible in the state of Kentucky. So they're staying. They're working on their marriage. They're going to marriage counseling. And they're making it work in the best interest of their families. But the divorce system where there's no fault and where there's no 50-50, it's easy for a woman to walk away because she knows she's going to get the lion's share of the assets. She's probably going to get majority custody and she's probably going to get child support.
Right. So all of those scenarios are in her benefit. So becoming quote unquote married here in this world is not to your benefit. That's why the scriptures talk about it, man. A man could write her a bill of divorce. There was no government system coming in between saying, well, you get 50% and you get 25%, and then I get a cut of the off the top, taxes included. And then the child has no father in her life, which is the main developmental aspect of any child, which is her father, because the mother is emotional and nurturing. That's not her role. Okay, so yeah, I mean, all of this is just a bunch of crap. But through the Spirit, I wanted to cover it because it's showing that this place is being stripped, being made bare. Okay? Those things that were once exalting women are now crumbling. All of those, that house of cards is now crumbling, man. Okay? And this is that same article I have here, or video I have here. So they just took it from 2018, because you can see the post here, and they just made it into a whole new video, but recent video. So anyway, like I said, it's just kind of weird that it's being brought up right now, but we'll play a little bit of it and then we'll wrap up.
But what if, when you filed for divorce, you knew that your spouse would get 50-50 custody? Would that affect your decision?
In Kentucky, the starting point for a judge is that both parents will have joint custody and also 50-50 parenting time. Governor Matt Bevin just signed it into law.
Kentucky has a law where 50-50 is the default. Now, obviously, there are exceptions if there's, domestic violence or whatever, but the default is 50-50. So not like Detroit where the default is every other weekend. If you knew your ex was going to get the kids 50% of the time right off, would that affect your decision to file for divorce?
This is the first law of its kind in the country, and what I will say is that in this area, in the Northern Kentucky area, for us attorneys that practice in especially Boone, Campbell, and Kenton counties, this is what's been going on for years with most of the judges.
Supporters of the new law say it allows for more stable upbringing of children. Attorneys who specialize in family...
No, the most stable upbringing of children is for Babylon to be destroyed and to be in the kingdom of righteousness. Anything other than that, children are going to grow up unstable. They're going to go to these wicked fool systems and learn nothing about being a righteous man or a righteous woman. Okay? So the solution is this place has to go. Okay? Period. Let's go back in Isaiah. This is Isaiah 32:9. Rise up, you women that are at ease. Hear my voice, you careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. Many days and years shall you be troubled, ye careless women. Yeah, these are the times in which you all have been in trouble. For years, you got alimony, food stamps, WIC, all of these other aids that were geared towards women, women's this, women's that. All of that's being taken from you now. Okay, it says, "For the vengeance shall fail, the gathering shall not come." Man, nobody's gonna worry about you. Isaiah 4:1 is is warming up, man. You know, is on the sideline stretching. Okay, throwing passes, getting ready, man. And you know what that means? That means that means you about to be brought low, man. Right along with Babylon, because Babylon is the biggest whore, and she's taught women to be more of whores. Okay, to use men as resources, man. And then leverage the children against the men. That shit is hella wicked, man. I know myself and other brothers have been in, these scenarios, and man, it's a just dessert to see Yahweh Shimei Shah judge this place. And quick footnote, the in my personal situation, the Lord removed, her breast from her, man. Rightfully so. Okay, Lord gave her cancer. You try to take a man's seed from him, and then pit that seed, that child against her father, and you don't think nothing's gonna happen? Nah, it's judgment, man. Can call all like how about Shimei Shah for it, man. And just like I told my dad, hey, I don't think he's gonna stop there.
Family law point out that judges have a lot of leeway, and that although both parents will start on
and these judges, okay, because they're complicit, okay, meaning she wouldn't have been able to go do it if those laws were not written, okay, and that's why Esau is going to be judged right along with the N-Dub and all the rest of these wicked 2/3 people in our nation, and then ultimately the rest of these other heathen nations, man.
Texas homeowners.
To the Wall Street Journal, the article is dated September the 6th, 2025. Again, Wall Street Journal, they have now compiled the data.
It was a victory for fathers' rights, but the story is more complicated. Some critics of the law say that people are staying in abusive marriages because they're afraid of leaving their children alone with a parent with a history of violence. One mom told me that her husband nearly killed her in 2023. She filed criminal charges and he was arrested. But less than 2 weeks after he got out of jail, a judge awarded him 50% custody.
And these stories are so lopsided. Like, women are just marrying these psychos, but it's no fault of theirs. It was all good. When he was physical with you in the bed chamber, then now all of a sudden, because he's a little rough and tough, but you want him to be a man, you want him to protect you, and then now he barks back at you because he has testosterone, and then now you go to the judge. This whole place is going to burn, man.
Of their son, indicating that the abuse wasn't a factor since he didn't lay hands on the child. The law has become a model for other states. Arkansas, West Virginia, Florida, and Missouri have passed their own versions of the equal custody presumption. Around 20 other states are considering it.
But you know what? I totally get what Corey said. I was in the barbershop talking to some homies, and the first thing they said was, "Man, you had both your parents growing up," and that, we laughed, right? But a lot of dudes didn't grow up with both parents.
Right, and why is that? That goes back to the Moynihan report. Okay. The Moynihan report. Let's see if we can grab that real quick. It's very weird that brothers.
From the Children's Defense Fund that the rate of birth to black teens is twice that for whites. Women had 50% of all black families with children under 18 compared to 15% for white children. Only 41% of black children are living with both parents compared to 80%.
There it is. Okay, let's slow it down just a tad.
That for whites. Women had 50% of all black families with children under 18 compared to 15% for white children.
It said 50% of children were with black women, where for white children, for white women, Edomite women, it was 15%. Let's slow that down one more time.
from the Children's Defense Fund that the rate of birth to black teens is twice that for whites.
Okay, we got the birth rates twice.
Women had 50% of all black families with children under 18 compared to 15% for white children.
50% versus 15%.
Only 41% of black children are living with both parents.
Only 41% of children living with both parents.
Compared to 80% of white children and
80% with Edomite children.
70% of Hispanic children.
70% of Northern Kingdom. Okay?
So while it is true that white families are in trouble, that blacks are not the only ones who have children out of wedlock, the reality says...
That's another spell word, wedlock. Okay? That's not in the scriptures. Okay? If you had a child out of marriage, you had to still take care of that child. That's in the book of Deuteronomy as well. Okay? But now they're making it like you had to get married. The reason why you had to take care of it is because that's your child. Okay? Yep, con. So Deuteronomy 22 and 28. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, key word there, a virgin. Okay? So if she was already used good, she's not a virgin. It says if a man find a damsel that is a virgin, that's what the whole wedlock thought process came from, was like, oh, okay, well, you had a child with her. Well, now you have to marry her. Well, if she's a virgin, okay, that's the whole point. If she's not a virgin, all bets are off. It says if a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, not to another man, okay, because the whole point was its purity, okay. That's the reason why this law was created. It's to keep things pure, and lay hold on her and lie with her, and they be found. Then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver. It didn't go to her. It went to the father, the responsible party. All right. And she shall be his wife. So that's where Esau tries to make it wedlock. Okay. But discounting the fact that if she's not a virgin, then, hey, it says, because he hath humbled her, he may not put her away all his days. So once again, Esau's blurring the lines. Okay. So anyway, let's get back to the video.
Is that it's pronounced, it's exaggerated, it's concentrated in many respects among black families. Are you willing to admit that?
I'm not only willing to admit it, I think we've got to sound the alarm.
And so one of the things, I don't think this is the actual Moynihan report. Yeah, this is it right here. This is part of it. Talking about yeah, if you brothers run across it, you can look it up, but let me see if this is part of it.
CBS reports Watts' riot or revolt continues.
Our heads, because the standard of living of the slaves was high, perhaps. We don't see how awful it was. We deprived them of the sacraments as Christians. We deprived them of any institutions of family life. We deprived them of any rights as human beings. There's a very long and complicated history, but we did. There's no other slavery like it in history. And there was no Negro family at all in the slave world. Secondly, segregation and the great humiliation of Jim Crow was a brutal assault on the personal integrity of the Negro male. I mean, he was the man who took the brunt of it. Thirdly, urbanization poured into the cities. Don't forget, the Negroes of our time, because they're Americans, we don't see them as immigrants. The Negroes in Watts were immigrants, just as much as Italians or Irish or whatever who poured into the cities in the 19th century. And it wasn't a very pretty sight in New York in 1870 either, let me tell you. The families break up and they leave countrysides, rural peasant life, and sort of dump into slums. Fourthly, unemployment. We have had 30 worsens. To get that clear, it's getting worse. How'd you learn how to behave? From your father and your mother and your older sisters, maybe, and the people around you. Well, supposing there is no father, or if he is a father, he doesn't work, where there is no education, where there's no sense of getting ahead, where children are just brought up without any of that support which a family gives it, then what do you end up with? You end up a cycle reproducing itself.
A UCLA study.
Boom, a cycle that reproduces itself, which is now you have crime, now you have these YNs, right? Now you have, men wearing women's clothing, right? Because they're growing up in a household with just a woman, okay? And you expect us to celebrate the fact that now all of a sudden we should cheer about a new law that now is gonna make custody 50%, man. Shit's trash.
Said was, man, you had both of your parents growing up, and that, like, we laugh, right? But a lot of dudes didn't grow up with both parents at home, so
that's
they
rare.
Yeah.
That's rare. I'm from Chicago, man. It's a whole bunch of single moms who got opinions and they lonely.
Much needed reality, shall we say, across the board in America. Now, I myself, I've never been married. I don't have any biological children that I claim. I've raised kids with very, beautiful, nice women, but I can't say I know the real depths of what it is to be divorced and to have, pardon me for laughing, to have more than half of your assets, your I don't know, things that you have worked hard for, to have them taken from you from these human semen receptacles. I'm sorry, I've said that before.
So you polite savages, I want you to notice the coat that the modern woman's going to pull straight out of the modern woman playbook. What's she going to say? She's going to say those ladies are staying there to avoid leaving their children with someone abusive. Come on now. We know what the real deal is. They don't want to leave that money, that scratch, that paper, that Skrilla. You see, it's very easy for a lady to walk away in modern times and just husk on with everything the man owns, and that's what they plan on doing. They say, hey, you don't do what I tell you, I'm going to leave and take everything with me. 9 times out of 10, they're going to get the legal fees. And since this...
Yep. And so the whole system is geared towards them having more power, which is the Lord created a new thing in the earth, man. A woman shall compass a man. But all of these things are just proof of the Holy Scriptures being true. And just like all the rest of these things have happened according to prophecy, likewise, Babylon, aka America, is going to be destroyed. Okay? This is 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 2. Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world? And if the world shall be judged by you, are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters? It's the reason why the bill of divorcement was in the hands of the man. It wasn't in the hands of the state. There was a time where church and state were separated. Now they're integrated. And really, the word church in itself just means to call out. And here in this society, church, religion, all of those 3 scenarios of church, military, and the government system, all of those are against righteousness, man. That's why they were set up. Okay? Because the only judges are the judges of righteousness that have been ordained by Yahweh Shemiah Shai. Okay? Verse 6, it says, it's like in verse 3, it says, know ye not that we shall judge angels? How much more things that pertain to this life? And so, yeah, like I said, I mean, check out the Moynihan report. Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan speaks on black families in relation to the 1965 Watts riots in Los Angeles. There's a report. You brothers can read a little bit of that, watch the video. Expect Babylon to just continue to fall. Okay? It's not much time left on this sucker right here, man. And Yahweh Shemiah Shai is visiting you women, man. Okay? He's visiting the whole earth, but hey, he's got a special judgment, man, for Esau and for you rebellious women, man. You careless women. And 2/3 of our own people. So till the next time, Shalom.